This is Tony Hendrick with Painting Spirit, and today's subject is going to be flavor. And the reason I'm picking this today is because Marianne made a Jamie Oliver meal last night. It was full of interesting flavors. I got her a Jamie Oliver cookbook for Christmas, and it's one of those gifts that gives back, doesn't it? So I'm not going to be able to say a whole lot about flavor. The reason I'm picking the topic today is because I want to just enjoy exploring the flavors of my painting and see where that leads. I can say a little bit about the stuff that she's been making from this Jamie Oliver cookbook. Some simple things like just mixing mint into a recipe that I wouldn't think of doing, and mixing it with lime and fresh mint. You know, she and I have been watching this Scandinavian cooking show. I don't remember what it's called. It's somebody who lives over in Norway and has a cooking show where he goes out and travels around Norway to different places, does the show outside and picks fresh herbs. And so it's an interesting show to watch just because of the scenery, and also just seeing the way he comes up with different flavors for simple things. I think he even made ketchup once in one of the shows we watched. And so with thinking about flavor and artwork, you know, there might be an association with flavor as being kind of on the surface, but that's not the kind of flavor that I'm talking about. It's not the what flavor popsicle do you want flavor that I'm talking about. It's the go out in nature and pick the fresh herbs and combine them. You know, the Scandinavian show, he'll pick a flower and, you know, add it to a dish, and those are the kinds of flavors that have depth. You know, we think of depth a lot of times with what we talk about, which I guess I'm doing a lot of right now that I didn't say I was, or I said I wasn't going to do that, but you know, depth and nutrition, but flavor can have so much depth to it. Bring depth into your life and into your art. So I'm going to just play around and explore. And so right now I just added some kind of a flat grayish white here, which is a little different. Actually, it's because I cleared off my palette yesterday and kind of have this grayish white that I scraped off my old palette and put onto my new. So I'm playing around, seeing if it creates an interesting flavor to my painting. That, you know, just a reminder that these painting spirit things that I'm doing are all about that exploration and having fun with it, seeing what happens. So right now I'm just doing that, playing around. You know, I've been doing these kind of organic paintings that have some depth, you know, the abstractions that I do. So right now I'm just seeing what happens when I just sort of stay on the surface a little bit. Maybe some depth can happen that way. And I'm working wet on wet. So sometimes the paint just gets to a place where it doesn't want to do much except mix and make mud. So shown my trusty little spatula scraper many times. Sometimes you can just do that with a painting where you put something down and get rid of the rest and start afresh, start new. And that little bit that you originally put on creates a unique flavor of its own. Just different ways of handling the paint. And, you know, having to be in that, like right now I'm working fairly fast. I'm just allowing myself to kind of explore. And in that exploration, there's richness that can come out of that. Maybe add a little bit of blue in there. Get some darkness going on. You know, those different values that happen. Notice how it creates space. So I was just, you know, these 3 shades of kind of a purplish red there. I can actually even add some pure red onto that and it'll change it up. So playing with color this way, you know, I'm using these, what are called they're called modern colors, and they're quite translucent. There's an intensity to them, so when you scrape them off like that, that intensity gets left behind. So really scraping all that paint down can create something there that just happened. I'm also using, because I'm playing quickly right now, I'm using a lot of brushes in my hand to keep the paint fresh. So I think I've got like probably 20 some brushes in my hand right now. So having a good selection of brushes can really help. And a variety can help create different flavors to your painting. And having that, you know, it's just a little bit of a gentle touch every now and then too. Like, you know, I picked up some paint from these darkers into that yellow there, and now I'm just playing with that and see what happens. A thicker paint like that can sit on top of these darker colors without picking it up and getting it muddy. I've talked about that many times before. Now that I got that intense yellowish orange there, putting some white on it adds a little different flavor to it, brings it forward. Oh, I've got all these brushes in my hand. Which one do I want to choose? I'll choose a darker one. I think I'm liking this blue here. These are a lot of red, so I'll add a different flavor into this painting. A blue flavor. Again, this is just an intuitive style painting. Not a lot of thought going on other than I'm explaining each move that I make as I'm making it. But that move is coming from some other place and me just having a pre-thought to it. It's very intuitive, very physical. You know, flavors are all about physicality, the experience. Where the popsicle flavor is all about stimulation, stimulating you. We have a lot of things in our culture that can provide stimulation, but do they really provide flavor, depth of flavor? That's what I'm looking for today. Oh, let's see here. I got rid of my nice red under there. I'm going to see what happens when I bring a little green there. Can't see the green that well, so I'm going to add some white to it to give it a little different flavor. Sometimes just moving the paint around creates some interesting colors. Everything's wet, so really emphasizing that with a little bit of white. Bring some of that color that was happening out of there into so the eyes can see it. Do I want to bring in a bigger brush? Maybe. Let's see what happens. I just put some medium there. That was just pure medium with a big brush. And it created some kind of greens there, so that made me think of a green that I just grabbed some phthalo green. I want that phthalo green to really show up there. Just a little bit of white. Now we can finish this off with maybe a little bit of something there. Anyway, so this was my exploration of flavor today. Pay attention to your senses. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to how you feel today. See if you can introduce new flavors to your experience. It doesn't necessarily have to come from, stimulating yourself with ideas and thoughts and arguments and opinions, but really get into the body and feel for new flavors, new experiences. Enjoy the day. It's middle of the week. Have fun. And we'll see you tomorrow.